What up, everybody? Welcome back to the Cafecito and Kane program, your weekly Tuesday night edition. Thank you for being on with me. If you're already in, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and feel free to contribute to the chat. This is going to be a shorter show. No guest, just me talking about this past weekend, the past few days. It feels like an eternity ago, actually, that we landed Carson Beck. I don't know why it feels that way. It was just a few days ago. And then since then, we've gotten a 2027 commit. Yes, you heard that right, 2027. Sophomore in high school currently. We got this kid, Stevens. God, I'm blanking on his last name right now. I'll get it in a second. But yeah, great commit there. Wide receiver from St. Thomas Aquinas, going to go play at American Heritage. Very talented young man. Saw his tape, liked what I saw. Plays in the slot, plays on the outside, blazing speed. So it's pretty obvious what Mario's trying to do with the roster now, the way he's trying to construct it. He wanted to add size, athleticism first couple of years. Now you see him really pumping in that speed. So that's good to see. Now, what can happen between now and signing day 2027 or December 2026, who knows? A lot can happen between now and then, but he's a local kid from Miami, grew up a Miami fan, so good to at least plant that seed, get that early commit, and, we're already off to the races with both the 2026 and 2027 classes, so that's good to see. So we got that going, and then you got the big news. You first started hearing rumblings on Saturday. Then you heard the official news Sunday that Miami was going to be landing Corey Heatherman, their new defensive coordinator for 2024 now, or for 2025, excuse me. So, I almost forgot. Let's pop these on. All right, much better. Much better. Yes, so you guys got a kick out of the glasses on Sunday, calling me, Cuban CIA, the accountant. I was enjoying it too. I enjoyed the comments. So I almost forgot to put these on. So now I can't do a show without him. So Corey Heatherman, really quick, my thoughts on him, because I haven't come on here and talked about him yet. We will not know. Mo, I'm early. No, dude, I started 2 minutes and 52 seconds ago. So you're 2 minutes late. So there's no way to tell if we made the right hire or not until we actually step on the field in August and September, probably till like halfway through season one with this guy. We're not going to know if he's the right guy. But I will tell you this, at least my thoughts on him early on, just hearing, the homework I've done on him, seeing some Minnesota tape, seeing his first press conference with Miami. Is he the right guy? There's no way to tell. I don't know. Is he the type of coach we needed? Yes, he is. And I'll explain why. For years, we've had a lot of player-friendly coaches. Not that Corey Heatherman's not player-friendly, but we've had just the demeanor, the attitude of defensive coordinators we've had over the years. It's been kind of the opposite of Coach Corey, if you get what I'm saying. This dude's a hard ass. A lot of people were saying it. Look at those eyes. You don't want to miss an assignment in front of this dude, and I agree. We're not going to know if he's the right guy until the season starts. But is he the right type of coach that I think we should have gone with? 1,000% absolutely. This is the kind of guy we needed back there because we were in desperate need of a culture shakeup on that side of the ball. Offense, I think we're good. Offense, everyone executed well. I saw very little drops this season from the wide receivers, from running backs, tight ends. Blocking was good. O-linemen were hitting their assignments. Tight ends were blocking. Execution was solid on the offensive side of the ball. I don't think there's a culture issue there. There was definitely a culture issue on defense. That was obvious. And we brought in a guy who I think is going to fix that. I really hope he comes in and can teach simple concepts and goes back to that attacking downhill style of defense that we played when Manny Diaz first got here. You remember when Manny Diaz got here in 2016? It was off the heels of having Mark D'Onofrio as our D coordinator and Al Golden as our coach for 5 seasons. 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah, for 5 seasons. We had to deal with that. Guys just kind of on their heels, nobody attacking, nobody getting upfield, nobody penetrating, getting TFLs and sacks. None of that. None of that. No blitzing. I rarely remember Mark D'Onofrio blitzing. It almost never happened. So we had to deal with that. And with South Florida athletes and the type of athletes we recruited, I just didn't understand us running that kind of defense. So we brought in Mark Richt. Mark Richt brought in Manny Diaz, and Manny Diaz goes with the complete opposite. What we've been wanting for years, what we've been screaming for as fans. A 4-3 defense that gets downhill, blitzes a lot, is aggressive, and gets to the quarterback and creates pressure and creates havoc. We had that a little bit, I feel like, with Lance Guidry the first year. He ran that 3-3-5 that first season. He kind of worked with what he had, and it worked. He had a good first season. This past year, all those stunts were driving me crazy. Okay? It was kind of taking us forever to get to the quarterback with those stunts. It kind of defeated the purpose, and I just, I didn't like it. I didn't like how on our heels we seemed. I didn't like how slow we looked. It looked like a throwback to D'Onofrio. I don't know why we ever got away from that Manny Diaz style of defense. Yes, he sucked as a head coach, and when he brought in Blake Baker as a defensive coordinator, that, was very inconsistent. But for a few years there, from 2016 to 2018, we had a rock solid freaking defense because we attacked and we were aggressive and we had a focus of getting into the backfield as quickly as possible. Hopefully, that's what this guy brings. Every coach is going to say at their first press conference, we're going to play aggressive. Yeah, no shit. Of course. I would hope so. But I need to see it. I need to be proven, though. 2017, yes, it was elite, 30 takeaways. 2018 was even more elite. We were number 4 defense in the country, total defense. Only problem was 2018, our offense was caca by the end of the year. And that was just mishandled by Coach Richt. But, that's a story for another day. Long story short, I'm just happy Corey Heatherman is here. We're going to hopefully go back to that downhill attacking style, which I think suits South Florida athletes and the type of athletes we tend to recruit, even not just down here, but around the country. I think it suits them much better. I think it's a much more simple defense to run. You don't have to be thinking about 27 different moving parts. It's like, I'm either getting to the quarterback, going after the quarterback, or I'm dropping back into coverage. If there's motion and there's a switch, okay, that guy moves, I'm now on him, you take him. Pretty simple. Let's go. That's it. And if you look at his defenses, if you look at Minnesota last year, not a ton of confusion whenever there was a guy in motion. That guy was almost always picked up. One of the reasons their defense was top 10 in many categories. So lots to be excited about there. I don't love that he only has 1 year calling plays at the P4 level, but he did an excellent job in his 1 year. He did an excellent job at James Madison, where he was D coordinator from 2018 to 2021, I believe. And in 2021, he won for that level. He won assistant coach of the year. So he's been recognized now for a while. I think him being young will be a good thing. I don't think you want your coaching staff to be too old. You don't want to be too young. You don't want to be too old either. I think he's like 40, 41 years old. Been coaching for a while now, but not past his prime by any means. Still a hungry coach that wants to prove himself and wants to make a name for himself. So I think in that regard, it's perfect. Would have loved to have seen a guy that has a few more years under his belt at the P4 level, but you can't have everything. So let's see what happens. He's a disciplinarian and a teacher. I love it. Yes, thank you, Mo, for the dono. He was a couple minutes late, but he came with a dono. I'll forgive it then. Norman, as always, thank you for the support. Hi, John and Kane fam. I remember D'Onofrio discouraged D linemen for putting their hands up to deflect passes. Yeah, I don't even want to relive that. God, just so much stupidity being taught to those kids during those years. And not to delve into it too much, but you remember the guys that were on that squad: Anthony Chickalo. Who else? Sean Spence was there like Golden's first year. Denzel Perriman. Who else was on that D line? I think they had Chad Thomas for like Chad's first couple of years. Al-Quadin Muhammad, who eventually got into the NFL. Jermaine Grace at linebacker. You had some speed and athleticism that they just did not know how to use. Now we need a safety coach and a cornerback coach. Who we get? That's the question. Let's see. A lot of people like the idea of Nick Monroe. I would love that. Would we get a DB's coach? Would we get a guy maybe like Monroe just coaches the safeties and maybe you bring in like a Mike Rumph to coach the corners? I'm not sure. I would think that a Nick Monroe would coach the entire secondary himself. I'm curious to see who he keeps from the current staff. JT, very likely going to stay, at least from what I'm seeing. And then you got, the question is D Nick. Does he stay? Does he go? If he stays, you hang on to a few recruits and maybe you land a few other elite guys because he's a hell of a recruiter. Right now, my concern is more teaching than recruiting. Because as long as Mario's at the helm, he's the brain trust of the whole recruiting operation. As long as he's still at the helm, I think we're fine as far as talent acquisition. I'm not concerned in that regard. Get me teachers first. This guy seems to be a teacher first. So I think that is a great, great move. And, you can point to his lack of experience at the P4 level like I just did. But the flip side of that is he is still on the younger side. And we had to buy out, I think it was like $600,000. We had to buy out from his contract for his extension because they were trying to extend him at Minnesota. Or I think they did extend him and they had to buy him out. So obviously they believed in him. Not a high profile, high budget program Minnesota is, but definitely like a legit one of those scrappy Big Ten teams that if you're not careful, they will beat you. They're not the most talented, but they're always well coached and prepared. Great. Bring me one of those coaches that make their guys well coached and prepared. I think it's a great move bringing somebody from the Big Ten that's that kind of teacher. Well, JT coach DT as well. I think JT already was kind of overseeing the entire D line. I don't think it was him coaching the edge rushers and Salavea coaching D tackles. I think JT kind of, maybe it was just by title, but I think JT was pretty much coaching that entire defense with Salavea helping him. Hey, what's good? Good to hear from you, man. 2013 team was talented. Yes, it was. It absolutely was. I'm having a hard time remembering some of the names on defense, specifically in the front seven. But yeah, Artie Burns was on that team. But there was that 2013 team was essentially an NFL team. Again, mismanaged. Did I get to the donos? Yes, I did. John, year one in the Big Ten, I was impressed. Gave big Penn State fits. Obviously, they lost 26-25, but that was a tough game that I saw. And he beat USC and beat Illinois. Yeah, it's Minnesota did very well last year. I was impressed going back and watching some of that tape. They don't play a bend but don't break, but like I saw some of those games and like they would get scored on early and you'd think they were going to keep getting scored on, but they would figure it out. They'd make adjustments. They'd figure it out and they'd give up 14, 17 points, but then it's before you know it, it's the fourth quarter and the other team is still at 17 points. So they're great at like kind of making adjustments, digging their heels in, and it's like, all right, we figured you out. You're not going to score again. And again, that's with Minnesota talent. If he can transfer that to here where we have speed, size, athleticism, we got playmakers, I would love to see how that works out. But they have to gel, the coordinator and the players. I would not be shocked if a couple guys leave. That's just how it is. It is going to be a culture shock for a few guys. Let's see what happens there. Not looking forward to that, but hopefully most of the guys stick around. Maybe you just have to go find a couple of guys to plug in that are ready to play. But secondary, I'm not too concerned, but we'll see in the front seven what happens. But Heatherman is definitely, I think, like a Mario guy. What I mean by that is like that hard-nosed, tough kind of coach that's a disciplinarian. I think you need that on that side of the ball because I don't think we had that at all for whatever reason. It just didn't work. And then before that, you had Kevin Steele. I just don't think he gelled with who we had on the field. But it is what it is. That's in the past, and we move forward. John, tell me this 2025 Canes team won't look like the 2023-2024 Michigan championship team. Big, physical, run first, and a quarterback who just does simple things to get the win. Yes, that's a good point. And we were talking about this previously on another episode that if you look at the teams that are this far into the playoffs, what do they have in common? They can run the ball, they can play defense, and they have a quarterback that doesn't give the game away. Those are staples of a championship college football team right now. Do you want a generational talent at quarterback? Of course. That makes your life a lot easier, and it makes everybody's life a lot easier. But you don't need that. And this season is further proving that you don't need that to win. Look at Ohio State. I think Will Howard is good. I think he's a pretty good quarterback. I don't think he's anything out of this world. But look what they're doing. They're about to win the national championship. I want Miami defense to play like Ohio State. Defense fast, aggressive, and tackle you hard. Yeah. Let's see. One would hope. Exactly. Yeah. But that's interesting, man. Michigan was definitely a trenches first kind of mentality there. And Jim Harbaugh, after the first few years, was just like, screw it. I'm going to go recruit the biggest, baddest offensive linemen. I'm going to recruit the biggest, baddest front seven guys on defense. And I'm going to build out from there. No one on that championship team, none of the receivers really scared you. The offensive linemen did. Bunch of future NFL guys on that O-line. But Blake Corum in the backfield, who was just a human battering ram. He was like if a sledgehammer was a person, that's Blake Corum. Very, very tough to stop. Very tough to bring down. Just physical. Did they just beat you up? And yeah, a quarterback that just didn't throw the game away. Made key throws when he needed to make them. That's it. But defense is paramount. You need to be able to stop people. You need to be able to get those key stops. You need to be able to get takeaways. Unless you got, well, actually, even if you got LSU's 2019 offense, even that defense, which wasn't like amazing, but they were timely. They made timely stops and they made timely takeaways. Let's see. To be fair, he also gave 31 points to an offensively inept Iowa team. I mean, I don't just zero in on one game. I look at the body of work. I don't want to make that mistake like we did with Guidry, that we just zero in on, when they upset whoever it was, Notre Dame or Ohio State or whoever, I forgot. A lot of people zeroed in on that big upset when he was at Marshall. Look at the body of work for the one season. Look at the body of work when he was at James Madison. The guy has done a very solid job. Canes got Nick Monroe for DB coach. Be sure to like the video. Yes, thank you, Scott. Be sure to hit the like button. Let's see. There was a comment Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate it, Ohio Kane. David Jean, I feel like our defense was better the year before. No, 2023, we were definitely better. You had 2 NFL safeties. We were definitely much better in 2023. Guidry also called better games. It just sucks that you could have gotten. I wish you could have had the 2023 defense with the 2024 offense. I mean, we would have been damn near unstoppable. Really, I mean, we would have been a national title contender. I have no doubt if you merge those 2 units. But it is what it is. But what does that tell you? It tells you we are getting closer. Rocking the Malcolm X glasses, yes. Flo, how's it going? I got my first glasses comment today. I don't know if you just noticed that. Now it's Malcolm X, though. Before they were saying I was the Cuban accountant, the Cuban Ben Affleck, that I'll do your taxes, but I'll take out the sniper rifle and I'll accountant by day, assassin by night kind of thing. Yeah, so what else? So that's the defensive side of the ball. If you want to know my overall thoughts, my short answer, yes, I like the hire. For the most part, I like the hire. And I'm pretty optimistic on it, especially with who we're bringing in through the portal. The kind of talent, the kind of athletes we're bringing in, especially in the secondary. Critique Mario for his in-game stuff all you want. Between every season, in the offseason, Mario has improved this team every single year. He's like, what can I do to improve the roster? What can I do to improve the coaching staff? What can I do to reinvent myself? And he's done it. Remember, people thought he couldn't recruit wide receivers. Well, he's put that to rest. People thought he was a quarterback killer. He's put that to rest. He's gotten the 2 top portal QBs 2 consecutive seasons. New DC won't drop defensive ends into coverage. And you know what? Kane Swag, I'm fine with doing that occasionally when the situation calls for it. When you're blitzing and rushing, but all of a sudden you drop somebody back and maybe blitz a linebacker instead. You drop that DM back just to throw him off a bit. You pick one off. I'm fine doing that if it's timely, just like a stunt or a twist. Don't do it every freaking play. That's what I'm saying. So yeah, happy with it. The account you will be headlining a sequel in theaters this April. Yes, sir. Yes. Do your taxes. So that's the defensive side of the ball. On offense, I talked about Carson Beck on Friday, but again, I like the pickup. Do I love it? Am I like over the moon about it? I wouldn't say that. I'm not doing cartwheels or anything. I'm not throwing a party, but it's solid pickup. I think it was by far the best option available, and I don't disagree with pulling the trigger there. He is a pro's pro. He's, I think, going to be a lead by example kind of dude. I don't think people talk about him being like not the biggest rah-rah guy, kind of quiet, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he's TVD. Don't take that to mean, we saw that before, so it's going to be the same result. No, that's not the case. Look at what he's done the last 2 years. It's been pretty solid, especially 2023, when he had really 2 weapons. Fast forward 2024, Carson Beck had no weapons. And this is, again, to Georgia's standards, mediocre running back play, very mediocre receivers. Nobody can get any separation. So that really hurts a quarterback unless it's somebody that's like, even a Cam is going to have trouble if nobody's getting separation. You know what I'm saying? And then the offensive line isn't like a typical Georgia offensive line. So all 3 of those things, he's going to see an upgrade. He'll have a great running game. And he'll be protected by that O-line. So he'll have extra time to throw. And then you have receivers that you have CJ Daniels, who I think will get separation. And then you have Kane swag, I think Carson Beck will attract at least one big-time playmaking receiver. We will see. But maybe in the spring portal window, I think we'll see that. But you got JoJo, who showed in the bowl game that he's a pretty damn good wide receiver. More quick than fast. He's not like a Philip Dorsett that he's going to run like a 4.28, but he more than makes up for that lack of elite straight line speed with quickness. Short area quickness. He'll get open, sometimes butt naked wide open because of his route running. And he'll make you miss in the open field and get big chunk plays that way. JoJo's an athlete. He's going to be a big-time playmaker in this offense next year. Chance, Nikar, we'll see what happens. We'll see if they take that next step as sophomores. Then, remember, you got the two freshmen, Dalen Upshaw, very, very fast, big-time playmaker, can get chunky yardage. And you got Joshua Moore, who is built, he has like that Isaiah Horton build, maybe even bigger, actually. Physically, he looks like he'd be ready to contribute right now. And then you got Malachi Toney, who even Cristobal himself said he's going to be a big-time contributor, maybe even as early as this year, which is crazy because he graduated a year early. Let's see. But I like who we got right now. I think we're going to add one more big-time playmaker. So I'm not concerned about the offense at all. And one more thing that I like about this, this marriage between Carson Beck and Miami, you have, as of now at least, Shannon Dawson calling plays next year. He's pretty damn good. I don't know if you've noticed, he's pretty damn good at scheming guys open, which a guy like Carson Beck will need from time to time. He'll need that guy that comes across the middle completely wide open that he can just dump it off to, and that's an easy chunk play because you schemed it for him. All of those things are going to be, things in his favor this coming season. You only worry about the health a little bit. All I'm concerned about is do not rush him back. Please don't rush him back. I don't think Mario will do that. He will probably not be available in spring. Now, Coach Cristobal is saying that he's ahead of schedule. You might see him as early as like early summer, which would be great. Maybe even before that. I wouldn't force it. If he can't, if he can't play the spring, that's fine. Have him practice in the summer. You got those few months to really build rapport with your receivers. I don't need this to be the number one offense in the country next year. I just need it to be effective. I need it to be an offense that can move the football, move the chains consistently, and score touchdowns, not stall out in the red zone. I doubt they will. I doubt they're going to stall out anywhere on the field. I think this is going to be, like the gentleman earlier said regarding Michigan, I think it's going to look kind of like Michigan's offense last year when they won the national championship. It's going to look a lot like that, and I think that's what Mario wants. With some playmakers on the outside, it's going to be, fusing in some of that air raid into that power scheme that Michigan had. I'm not saying it's the same play calling because that was Gaddis. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, just the identity. You know what I'm saying? JoJo's going to be a monster this year. I 100% agree. Toney might be that X factor. Toney is a freaking dog, dude. He's an absolute dog. I love that kid. I know some people aren't. It could go either way. Some people are super high on him. Some people are not. I think he is an absolute freaking dog. He was Mr. Florida football for a reason. That dude is just a playmaker, and he's a leader, which I like. Cam Ward was a quiet guy. I didn't think that. I didn't think Cam Ward was loud, but he talked his shit. He was confident. He was he was a leader in the locker room. When he needs to stand up and say something, he said it, but he commanded everybody's respect. You always see him on the sideline, especially in the spring. You'd see him holding court with the receivers, kind of like telling him what he saw, showing him stuff. Like he was that kind of leader. But yeah, Cam definitely isn't like Mr. Loud in your face guy. I don't think he's that either, but Cam's an excellent leader. Toney has unbelievable hands. Yes, he is. Lofton. Oh, I momentarily forgot about Lofton. He's going to be the year he's about to have. Oh my God. Oh my God. Can't wait to see that. I want to see Nickel taking snaps in practice over Emory. No more Emery. No more Emery ever. That's the silver lining with this Carson Beck not being able to play in the spring with his injury and recovering. You're going to have Luke Nickel and Judd Anderson taking way more snaps probably than they expected, which is great. Get them all the snaps. Get them as many snaps as possible. I want to see who emerges as QB2. That's going to be very important. But yeah, so like I said, this is going to be a short show. Just wanted to pop on for half an hour or so. Update you guys on my thoughts on the defensive coordinator hire. Thumbs up. For the most part, I'm pretty happy. I like who we got. It's a change. It's a little different from what we usually bring in. And I think it's a great change. I think fans are going to love him. I think fans are going to love the style of defense he plays. I just hope he teaches. I just hope he teaches the X's and O's, the mental part of the game where we don't look lost. I want us to look prepared, and I want us to play fast and tackle well. Give me those things and give me a Carson Beck that's not going to turn the football over. This could be a very, very good, maybe even great Canes team next year. But we'll see. It's early. It's January. But I'm hopeful. I'm cautiously optimistic. I like what we've done so far in this offseason. But anyway, guys, I'll let you all go. Enjoy the rest of your night. Please hit the like button and subscribe button on the way out. And yeah, that's it for me. As always, all about that U. Go Canes. Enjoy your Monday, everybody. Sorry, Tuesday. Enjoy your Tuesday.